hit the wrong button. Okay. So once again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Hey, we have two people from the Calgary Buddhist Temple here. Dan McCormick is here. Nice representation from Calgary. Thank you. So I'd like to begin by reading a passage from the Dhammapada. Dhammapada are selections of over 300 short, almost ethical passages that the Buddha made, and they were collected together. So I'm going to just read a passage from this. He abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. The hatred in him who harbors such thoughts is never pacified. He abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. The mind of one who has no such thoughts is always at peace. Indeed, hatred is never pacified by hatred. It is pacified by the absence of hatred. This is the law of antiquity. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. The passage I read today is a very famous passage, and it talks about overcoming hatred. And hatred is not overcome by hatred, but it is indeed overcome through the absence of hatred. And the reason why I brought this up today was recently in the news, over the last couple of weeks, I guess, I don't know if you've seen it, but there have been talks about the Ukraine-Russia war and how Ukraine is now using cluster bombs that were supplied by the US, and whether this is ethically correct to do or so. And of course, the very straightforward answer is no, it's not ethical to do. But I think any war is unethical. So it seemed like almost the pot calling the kettle black, if you will. You know, what is ethical and what is not ethical. And it reminded me of a story that comes from the Buddhist teachings. And I've told this to the Dharma School students, so some of you may have heard this before, but I think it really exemplifies our world that we live in. And it's entitled Sandcastles. And I'm just going to share it with you. This story begins, so it says, once upon a time, in a much gentler time, there was a village near the sea. Between the village and the sea stood a small grove of trees and bushes. And just beyond the nestled vegetation was a golden beach that stretched as far as the eye could see. So one day, a monk was sitting quietly on the beach. It was a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. The waves from the sea lapped to and fro on the beach. The sunshine shimmering on the waves made them look like living creatures. As the monk sat peacefully enjoying the afternoon sun, he heard the voices of children running towards the beach from the village. There were some boys and there were some girls. Altogether, there were 8 children. As they ran to where the waves met the beach, suddenly their faces became very serious. "This is my space," said one boy. "This is my sand," said a little girl. The monk sat quietly, watching the children quarrel over who got what piece of the beach. He cocked his head to the side and thought, The beach is so large, and yet they push and shove over the same little space. What curious little children. After some time, the bickering subsided, and the children began to build sandcastles and sand houses out of the wet sand and some rocks they found. Amongst the different castles, there were some that were built very elaborately, while others were not as so. It didn't matter how well it was made, all the children looked upon their own creation with great pride. One girl stated, "This is my royal palace." Another said, "This is my grand castle." Each guarded their own castle from the others, making sure that no one would ruin their creation. Seeing this, the monk wondered to himself, why do the children treasure their sandcastles so? Calling it the royal palace and the grand castle, when in fact all are made from just plain ordinary sand that will crumble and fall apart in time. As he was contemplating this to himself, he noticed that the children had begun to fight amongst themselves again. "You stepped on my castle. I demand that you fix it back to the way it was," shouted a boy to a girl who was building her castle beside his. He pulled on her hair, making her cry. "I didn't mean to step on your castle. It was an accident. There was no need for you to pull my hair," she sobbed. The others gathered around. Some sided with the little girl. They said she didn't do it on purpose, so the boy should forgive her. Others sided with the boy, saying that accident or no accident, the fact was she did step on his castle and that she should be punished for it. Neither side seemed willing to listen to the other side's view. The sun had now begun to set. As dusk was soon approaching, the wind began to blow stronger. Just then, a voice from the village was heard. "Chisa, it's time for dinner. Hurry and come home." The little girl who had been crying turned and ran towards the village, calling out, "I'm coming, mother." The squabble between the rest of the children died down, and one boy said, we better be getting home too. And with that, they proceeded to trample all the castles and went scampering up towards the village. The wind was now quite strong. The waves began to roar onto the beach. Before long, all the castles were washed away, and all that remained was the clean surface of the beach. The stars began to shine in the sky, and the lone monk, who remained on the beach, reflected to himself, "It's just like the workings of mankind." And as he stood to leave, he smiled to himself for the first time and said, "It is the teaching of the Buddha Dharma. Life is too short to waste like this." And this comes from the sutra on the different paths of practice. But as you can tell, just like these children, we seem to squabble over things that are impermanent, and we lose sight of what is truly, really important. And in the Buddhist teachings, it says, happiness is the appearance of the Buddha. Happiness is to hear the right Dharma. Happiness is harmony in the Sangha. Happiness is practice and cultivation within the Sangha. As we share in our times together, I think most of us who were here last week for our Obon, whether it was the festival or the service the following day, there was a great sense of unity and togetherness. And it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, everybody felt like they're together. And I think that's one of the most important aspects of the Sangha, is that the Buddha looked upon all beings as being equal. And if only this thought or idea could be shared with more people, perhaps we might be like this monk looking upon these children and thinking, what curious children quarreling over a bunch of sand. And so I wanted to share with you, thinking about what was going on with the Ukraine-Russia war, and I guess other conflicts throughout the world. Really, life is too short, and I think our world is too small to be squabbling over. And so I hope as we listen together to the teachings that tell us the interconnectedness of all life, that we do find peace within ourselves, and hopefully we can share that with others as well. So this was the very short and brief story that I wanted to share with you today for this Dharma message. And again, I'll just close my message by reading the passage again from the Dhammapada. He abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. The hatred in him who harbors such thoughts is never pacified. He abused me, he beat me, he defeated me, he robbed me. The mind of one who has no such thoughts is always at peace. Indeed, hatred is never pacified by hatred. It is pacified by the absence of hatred. This is the law of antiquity. Happiness is the appearance of the Buddha. Happiness is to hear the right Dharma. Happiness is harmony in the Sangha. Happiness is practice and cultivation within the Sangha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. We'll conclude this morning's service with the singing of the Ondok-san. And that is in, I believe it's in the red Seiken as well. It's on page 134 of the red Seiken. And on the screen, I will bring it up for those who are joining by Zoom. And I just have to set up the music, so just give me a couple seconds here. Oops. What did I do here now? Okay, and oh, where did it go? Okay, if you're able to stand, please stand. Okay. Okay. And, oh, that's, okay. Oops. What's happened here? Sorry. Disappeared. Where did I go? Oh. Well, oops. So this will conclude our service for today. So during the summer months, from now till end of Labor Day, the service is a little bit more informal than during the year. Basically the same though, I guess. Next week is another regular service, and then following that, August 6th is our August Shotsuki monthly memorial service. And then following that, I'm going to be actually away for 4 weeks. I'm away on Vancouver Island the following week, the 13th, and then I'm going to be on holidays till after Labor Day. Are you going to be okay?
I'm going to be okay.
Are you okay? Okay. And Roy says, other than, there is no service on the 13th, but the 20th, 27th, and the 3rd of September, Roy says there will be conducting services. There will not be Zoom service during those periods, just the Shotsuki service, there will be Zoom. Okay? So thank you all for attending. No one else. No one else.
Thank you very much, Grant Sensei.
Thank you.
See you, everybody. Hi, Jenny.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sensei.